fill that area back up to this candle here, that bullish candle there. So I was waiting, and it's getting all right. Everyone, welcome back to the channel. I am into a short entry here off of the NASDAQ 100 this morning. I hope everyone's having a great trading morning. I know there's not a lot taking place this morning or happening, but there was 2 trade setups, and I was waiting for the latter part of one to unfold. It was a supply area right here. There was actually a supply area right here that was created right around the time the market opened up at 9:30. It pulled back to it. We did close into the zone. We didn't break above it though. So if you took that trade there, looking for the rejection there, shortly after the market opened up, I don't trade right after the market opened up, so that's why I stayed out, because I wasn't sure if the market was going to reject this area at all, being that we had all this open space right here, these gaps right here that I knew that it would probably want to test and fill, but it did reject this zone here. So if you got into that supply zone, you made out pretty well by running the low here at 18,441, and then it set up another supply area here, which was, I'm gonna go ahead and draw this. This is the one I was eyeballing right here, and the market got back up to it and just broke above. So I like I just said, this area here, this open space or all these these gaps here that has to fill, the market's going to fill some area that it's going to fill it at some point. It has to. That's one thing about trading. So be careful when you see, let's say for example, like this right here, where we have a supply zone at, we have we have open spaces, and you see what the market could want to fill these gaps at, because the market's got to fill every area of imbalance. You must understand that. So and it did that. That's why it ran back up here. So I stayed out of the market really until I noticed this. I got into a trade yesterday evening. It was in around this area right here, and I took out when I noticed it started to turn back around, started to fail. So I went ahead and closed my position. Anyways, I scalped for pretty decent on that trade there. I posted a screenshot of the trade I took. I did have to close earlier because it was coming back in the opposite direction. So I closed and basically locked in some profit. But anyways, right here, you got to understand what's going on here. When you see things like this and say, okay, this is a supply setup right here where it broke structure to the downside, another break to the downside. Here we go. Look at there. See there? Okay. So, again, I'm on my 60 range chart. I'm trying to explain this off the higher time frame. But again, I'm looking for it to come down here and test this area here, 492.5 at least. And it could come down here and run the low too. So, but I'm gonna take out around this area of resistance here. Excuse me, not resistance, support. Sorry about that. I'm eyeballing this right here, because this area here I took a trade. And the reason why I'm talking about this is because this was not a pullback to this area of supply right here. Okay. Now, this was a tested area of supply. As you can see here, the market pulled down where it broke right here and pulled back. The top end of this candle, that wick there, filled that area back up to this candle here, that bullish candle there. So I was waiting, and it's getting around that time to where I need to try to get into a trade because the market can kind of do some funny things after about 11 o'clock. But anyways, I noticed that it broke, and the reason why I'm talking about this because I want you guys to understand this. Whenever the market tries to or runs an area of liquidity, and then you may have, say, a supply area resting above, and it could possibly even be a resistance area. And this is what this was right here, resistance. I talked about in the past that 98% of the time I'm trading supply and demand. A few times, depending on, I got a little antsy, a little bit aggressive wanting to trade today, and I was looking for an opportunity. But I did see this this resistance area set up, and it pulled back to this area of resistance right here. What I liked about it was this right here, is that when it came up to it, there wasn't a close of a bullish candle into this swing right here. This bullish candle was followed up by this next candle right here. And it was a bullish candle, but it wicked away from it real strong. That's why you see that big wick on the back end of this bearish candle right here. So when I noticed that, I looked over down at my lower time frame, and I looked for an opportunity or setup to get into the trade. So I went ahead and took the trade setup. Again, 2 things. We ran liquidity right here. it broke back up to this area of resistance and strong rejection. So I got into the trade to go to the downside. So I'm gonna stay in this trade and hopefully it continues running lower. All right, and I have a stop resting right here at 38. So we'll see what happens. Okay, so what I did on my lower time frame, my 12 range chart, and looking for an opportunity or an entry, I waited for I saw the market, break through an area structure. So it broke the small area right here below here at 31 and a quarter. And I waited for a supply setup. So I'll look for a supply setup. So when it did that, it came down, pulled back, broke lower. You see this area of supply. This is aggressive selling right here. Okay. When the market broke right here, this candle here created a small area of supply. When the this bearish candle right here, when it pulled back, see the wick of it? It tapped the bottom end of that bullish candle right there. When it did that after creating that area of supply and then it closed lower, that was, well, I would have gotten to the trade right there, but I got in aggressive on the pullback right here. As you can see, it pulled back and then it immediately started dropping lower. So I got in a little bit aggressive here at 532 and a quarter. And as you can see, so far it's been holding pretty strong there. So again, this was on the lower time frame. It tapped into, this wasn't a full-on supply setup. I noticed that there was a massive, big rejection at the area of resistance, and it pulled away from it. So I just waited for it to pretty much break structure, create a small area of supply, pull back, and then look to go short. Again, there was another area of supply right here, pull back, supply. Maybe you got in right here at the break and close of the candle and went short here. It does pull back, but your stop is going to be pretty much resting right here at the back end of 529 by a few points. Give yourself a little breathing room there. And if you've done so far, it's not taking you out. So even if you got in here, let's say at the break and close right here, excuse me, what am I trying to say here? The break and close here at 522, okay? Let's say you got in right here. The market is still, you could have picked up, let's see, roughly 20 points. Well, a little bit less than 20 points. Let's see. Yeah, almost 20 points, right? 20-point run to the downside before it started pulling back. And again, if your stop was resting about a few points above 29, then you're still in the trade, okay? If you're trying to hold it. But right now, yeah, I'm trying to hold this trade just for a little bit to see what it actually does. So I had to move my stop out the way. But anyways, let me lock my stop in behind this area right here. Right here at 535. Now I haven't really locked in any profit because my goal is for it to really come down and test lower area. So I'm gonna hold this trade as we speak right now. I really only have like a 2-point stop on this right now above here. So, because my stop would be having created off of this small little supporting swing right here, the back end of it right there at 35.5. So that's the reason why I put my stop right there. And it can run that area. If it does try to come back, I may move it up just about a tick or a couple of ticks, whatever the case is. But I don't know. If it breaks this area here, I might start down here at 503. Then I might go ahead and lock in some profit, which I probably should have already done. But because I think it was like I was up by like 25 points. So I should have taken my first contract out, locked in profit, and then moved my stop down, my last contract a little lower. So I went ahead and took profit. I'll show you right quick. I'm gonna go down to the 12 range chart so you can see it clear. I took profit like at 22 points on that trade there, and it may try to run lower. The reason why I got out because it was starting to move sideways here, as you can see right here. So I went ahead and took profit there. So let's see. Yeah, so the trade was right here, sold here, and then I closed the position out right here at 511 and a quarter. So it could continue pushing lower. So I'm going to watch this now to see what it does. Okay. So yeah, look at it trying to run lower. See. All right. So it's okay though. We are in this low volume area right here, so we can want to wash right through this and come down here and test this area of support, like I mentioned below. And it looks like it may be trying to do that. But again, it ran some area of liquidity right here up to the upside, took out, anybody that was looking to sit, or sellers right here that was selling right here. And those that had positions on where they had sold in this area here, took them out, ran back up to this area here, So it may want to come back and test this area of which was resistance is now support. So to me, it looks like it wants to continue pushing lower, and it may push a little lower. But I mean, if you look at, just kind of, we're in a, slight downtrend right here. You can see the market was breaking structure to the up, to the downside here. All right, so it may want to run a little lower, and it could come down here and break these lows down here just as well, and then we get another, beautiful breaking structure to the downside below 415. So we'll see here what actually ends up happening. But I went ahead, like I said, and closed out right at around 22 points there on that entry. So, but yeah, this right here, again, this was a short here. This would have been an area of supply. It goes short, but you got to be careful and just be mindful. Like when the market gets to this area here, do you get clear sign of rejection? Do you get a good rejection? If it starts closing into the zone, then be very, very, very careful, because they may want to push higher, try to run some area of liquidity, take out sellers here, and then, before they decide where they're going to go to. So it could be the next area of supply resting above. In this case here, they rejected off of, or transacted off of, an area of resistance right here, and the market pushing a little lower. But it could continue pushing higher and test some areas above here. So we'll see. And the reason why I say that is because, there's a gap right here. So there's an imbalance resting right here. There's a very small imbalance resting back up here too at 549. So even though it rejected off this area of resistance, that doesn't mean that they, are just going to flush to the downside right now, because there's some area above. There's some imbalances. As you can see, when they start pulling back here, retracing, what do? They fill those areas of imbalance, tap into the resistance there, rejected off resistance, and then this could be, a pullback right here to fill in some area of imbalances right here, because there's an imbalance here. There's a small imbalance resting right here. They fill those areas in. They may come up here, grab this, and then push lower. So, meaning filling in the rest of those areas of imbalance and then push lower. So you got to be able to see and understand, price action, the price movement, and think like the banks and the institutions. What are they trying to possibly try to do? So, but yeah, we didn't tap into any area of supply, and there's an area of supply here, but it's a low probability area. So, it just depends what the market's going to do when they get back to it. So it's not a untested zone. So it may break right through that area. But one thing for sure, what they did right here was grab liquidity when they ran stop these sellers out right here. Not a lot going on right now. I'm going to go ahead and close out my session here. One trade, I think it was 22 points. Excuse the background noise there, but that was 22 points, 2 contracts, so 44 points. So I'm just going to sit back and wait to see what happens the rest of the session. I mean, I'm not going to sit in front of the charts all day, but I'll kind of monitor it off and on. But if I see something set up, then I may take it. Again, there was a short entry right here, supply zone, as we broke lower. Swing. We had a breaker structure here to the downside. We broke a swing, pull back. There was supply right here. Market broke through it. So overall, we are in a slight bearish downtrend here. We have these minor structural areas here that the market could break through. We have a high resting right here. That would be a major breaker structure back to the upside. But we'll just see. We have to wait it out and see what happens. But if you're a first-time sub or subscriber, please take the time to go ahead and sub by clicking on the subscribe button down below. Make sure to turn on all your post notifications so you never miss one of the uploads. And last but not least, if you found value in today's content, I trade supply and demand pretty much. I just noticed that this 98% of the time I'm trading supply and demand. I saw this great rejection off this area of resistance right here, and I just jumped in. I took it when I saw it basically pulling away from it real strong. You see that bearish candle there, that big wick. So that's just telling me they are really, really, really rejecting that area. And we were already trending to the downside right here. So, I look for that opportunity there. Moved over to my lower time frame like I discussed, and look for to get me into more of a precise entry. That makes sense. So I'm not taking the trade based off the higher base chart. But I was aiming for it to come down here. But like I said, this was an area of resistance. And what you have to understand about area, if you're trading support and resistance, you can become liquidity. Okay, because you're really not getting into a move at the beginning where it took place at. This is where the move started at right here. Okay, this was a supply zone right here, and it's tested, but you can see when they came back to it, what do? They rejected it and they pushed it away from it again. So lots of times what happens if you take a resistance or support entry, you could get into a nice move, okay, but you have to understand and pay close attention to price action. If it starts to turn around and you start to see bullish momentum back to the upside, you may want to think about going ahead and closing your position, because more than likely they're going to run that area where you got into that trade at, in this case here, from resistance, and test higher areas where the move started at originally as it was swinging to the downside. So this was a breaker structure with a supply area. You see that beautiful areas of selling right here? So lots of times people that do trade support and resistance, and this is an example to show you what took place here, they become liquidity, okay? You get into a sell entry right here, they turn the market back around, they stop those sellers out, like, for instance, that could have been me. But I showed you over on the lower time frame, a lower base chart, we started kind of ranging, moving sideways, so I said, let me go ahead and get out, because lots of times what you'll see is they'll start doing that type of price action where the market will start going stagnant or moving sideways, and that just tells me that, that they're more likely going to push higher. It was in this area right here on the lower base chart. So, but now it's tapped back into this area where it was supply at, and you can see they're trying to run the market lower here now. So they may come down here and test all the way back down here to the low. I'm not sure. But this is the kind of information that I cover in videos like this. There's tons of live recorded session videos on here where I talk about the trades that I take, and I show you trades, and I walk you through them. And also lots of topic, based information here on the channel, to where I'm talking about various topics surrounding trading futures. Okay, so I highly recommend that you take the time to at least go ahead and sub to the channel and watch some of the video content. There's also, if you take it upon yourself and you want to, a lot of people they join with the elite member program. It's elite membership. A lot of people ask me what it is, or what do you get? You get the trade breakdowns, and that's where I go into detail about the trades. I break them down as if you're sitting next to me, and cover, because I have a certain strategy in how I trade, and it surrounds having multi-chart confluence. So I'm not taking trades just off of one chart. I like to mark my zones off of a higher base chart. We're talking about supply and demand, and then look for a precise or better entry point on a lower base chart. But that lower chart, my entry chart, which is my 12 range chart, I'll look for like I said, a precise entry point to where I want to see a series of events or into the strategy that unfold or take place before I get into a trade. I just do not take a trade the moment it taps into a zone. I have to see clear on and further means of rejection to give me confirmation to get to a trade. So those are the type of things I talk about surrounding the elite membership videos. Okay, so if you're interested in joining, you can scroll down in the description portion of the video. You'll see a link there that says become an elite member. It's $6.99 a month. That's it. Okay, you get the trade breakdowns, the video playlist, and then all the other perks and rewards that come along with the tier subscription, and that's through YouTube. So basically what you're doing is supporting me, is supporting my efforts as a content creator, and in return I'm giving back those perks and rewards, like again, the trade breakdowns, the video playlist. You get the emojis and the badges and the reply to comments. So a lot of people ask me that every single day. So that's what you do receive. And for everybody who is supporting the efforts of me as a content creator, sharing valuable information here across this platform here in regards to the trades I take and surrounding the future markets, especially if you trade the indices. I appreciate you for supporting my efforts as a content creator and sharing back with you the strategy and how I trade it. It's helped, it's helped loads of people out, those that have spent time watching the videos, because basically I make this content publicly so that you can, because there's already a lot of public content, a lot of videos on the channel. But if you want that inside scoop to where I'm really breaking things down in detail in reference to the trade breakdowns, you might want to think about becoming an elite member. But if not, you can spend time educating yourself by watching the videos, but you got to put in the time, put in the hours, and really take, pen and pad, and take notes, take very good notes. Okay. And I go over the strategy just about in every video here on the channel, because I want to see people become profitable and successful. But that's all I have today. Okay. I appreciate you. If you found value in the video today, please take the time to hit the like button. Wasn't a lot going on. I just wanted to share that one entry with you. Picked up 22 points, and hopefully maybe you traded the same thing. It wasn't a supply setup. We were bouncing off a strong area of resistance there. You can see it pull it away from it with that major bearish candle right there. And but we were already bearish, so to the downside, breaking structure. So pay attention to the structure of the market, and that will aid you in what type of trades or at least the direction of what you should be trading in. Take care. I'll see everyone in the next one, and have a great trading day.